Hey, Jen Vera here, Sales Embodiment Coach. And today I'm talking about something that has been very relevant for me and my clients recently. And that is influence. Influence is a skill set. And, a lot of times the word influence, it's an exciting word, but when we relate it to sales, people get really like, what does that mean? You're influencing me. People can be a bad influence. They're influencing based on their agenda. And before I even go into the art of influence or anything relating to influence, I want to have a conversation about this first. And the conversation being that you're influencing yourself and other people every single day, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. And so what my purpose and point in doing this video today is really to share certain tools and tips to understanding yourself and understanding your own leadership so that you can use these skills to use within yourself and positively contribute to other people's lives moving forward. I believe that the more aware and the more conscious we are of this, the better. And so as I teach this, my intention is that everyone only use these things for positive influence in other people's lives versus for selfish gains. And given the type of consciousness that I carry, and if you follow me and you know that I teach spiritual sales and that's what my vibe and what I'm about, I'm making this container and this agreement that you will not use this for your own means or your own agenda that's going to negatively impact anyone else. Because this is really, really powerful stuff and influence tactics. And by the way, if you want more of videos like this, check out my Facebook group, Celebrate. I'm going to drop the link in at some point after I finish this video, whenever that is. All right, so hey Jessica, hey Marissa, hello all of you other people watching. So what's the key to influencing others now that we've had a discussion about what influence is? And the key to influencing others is understanding how people work, understanding human psychology, understanding what gets people to move, what gets people to take action, and what keeps people still. And the key to that is self-leadership. It's understanding yourself. Understanding how to, not just yourself, but how to influence yourself, right? And so that's what the conversation is going to be about today. And as a coach and in sales, new friends and getting to see you live already. Yes, absolutely. In sales and as a coach, so much of how effective you are in your sales calls, especially when you're diving deeper with people and when you're actually having a transformational sales conversation. And when you're not only transformational sales conversation, but transformational coaching conversation with people, it is so important that you possess a strong leadership within yourself, that you understand how to enroll yourself in things. Because if that is not congruent within yourself, then it's going to be reflected in your clients, right? And so let's talk about what enrolling ourselves means. It's really having the ability to make the right and healthy decisions for ourselves. And that might be me influencing myself to make myself breakfast versus going out to eat. That might be my ability to influence myself and enroll myself in going to the gym, That might be my ability to enroll myself in doing the things for my business that sometimes I don't feel very inspired to do, right? That, I decided to do, I made the decision, it was an inspired decision at the time, and maybe at the moment when I have to do the actions, I don't feel so energized about it, right? My ability to enroll myself in what I choose, in what I had already decided was the right thing for myself, is congruent leadership, and that's self-leadership. And that's something that whether you're a health coach, whether you're a business coach, whether you are a coach that coaches on relationships or supporting people, a life coach, and living their best lives, that's something that you need to be able to understand and do for yourself. So I'm going to go through some tips for this. So the first one is, this is a hack. This is from Simon Sinek, or Sinek. I don't really know how to say his last name. But if you Google him, he had a very, very famous TED Talk. He now consults global corporations on this. And his TED Talk was Know Your Why. I don't know if that was the title, but it was really about finding your why. And part of the reason that we might decide to change our lifestyle is there's a why to it. And the why generally has to do with some sort of pain. Here's where we're getting into the juicy stuff. So I decide to change my lifestyle and actually take actions on it. So I'm eating clean, eating really healthy, for instance. And the reason I'm doing that usually is because there's some sort of pain. And like for me, I used to be obese. And it's like, that's a very big piece of pain for me. And I'm never going back there. And that is motivating. That's my big why of like, I love the body that I have right now. Like, I love my body so much. Like, I feel so good in my body. I feel so healthy. And I know the pain that lies if I don't commit to the consistent actions to care for my body and the consistent food choices, right? And so understanding your why when you're in the middle of like enrolling yourself to do that thing. And so I'll use a business example. I have an event in Miami coming up. It's February 12th, and it's going to be about closing like a woman. And it's all about sales and embodied sales from like a more of your feminine core energy. And so, you know, I felt really inspired to create this event. And then what's happened is I've like gone to another immersion. I've been busy. I've gotten new clients. Like I've had a really kind of busy, big week, building a lot of new relationships. And one of the things that has happened is like, I was so excited about this, but my attention and energy to it has fizzled, right? So my ability to enroll myself in a decision that I already made to get jazzed up is like, what's the why, right? And my why for that is like, Miami, I lived there for 3 years. I love Miami. And the fact that like I'm one of the very, very few, actually I don't know anyone else that is teaching sales from the perspective that I teach sales. And I want to contribute that to people, especially, you know, people that are coaches and healers, because I feel that we can change the world. And if we understand how to sell and how to sell authentically and from a place that's like super heart-centered and in deep service for other people, like it's going to have this tidal wave effect of the consciousness of the planet. And so no big deal, but that's what I'm up to, right? And so like connecting to that why and connecting to how much I love to be in person with people, like that's going to motivate me to do the activities and the actions necessary to get that done. And so that's a really, really great hack that you can have for yourself, right? Like, what is your why? What is your why when you made the decision to do the thing? And this is one of the ways that you can influence yourself. And I want to dive into deeper into the pain, right? Like the pain of not doing it can also be incredibly compelling. As human beings, we will move faster away from the burning stove than we will move towards like the healthy green salad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so pain creates urgency. And don't be afraid to go there. Don't be afraid to go into the pain in order to like uncover that fuel and that motivation and that energy to like move you, right? So the next thing I'm going to talk about is something, this is something that I learned through going through an online coaching program that Tony Robbins created. And he calls this the 6 human needs. And this is for yourself, and also as we're learning influence with others, this is also part of that. This is also very similar to the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So as I'm going through it, you may recognize some of these as, oh, that's really similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I don't know where Tony Robbins sourced it or anything, but like, I believe we're all kind of creating content on top of each other's content, on top of existing things. So his 6 human needs are the need for safety and security, the need for variety / uncertainty, the need for love and connection, the need for significance, and the need for growth, and the need for contribution. And so what are these? What do they like? What do they mean? And how can I use them? That's the question, right? So I'm going to go through each one. So for some people, like right now, the example that I just went through about my amazing event in Miami, February 12th at 7 p.m. at Ironside Wellness, is like, that's my desire for contribution. Like, that's like, oh my gosh, like, I can't wait to serve this people, and this is going to up-level humanity. And like, that's the contribution that's going to get me pumped. That's like my need to contribute positively to humanity, right? Growth. Sometimes we go through certain experiences. Sometimes what motivates us is growth. So sometimes, like doing certain things. Okay, like having a really hard workout. Sometimes I'm motivated by seeing how far I can go, how hard I can go, how deep I can go, how much I can push myself as a test of my limits. And so sometimes what's going to motivate me is going to be the growth effect of that, right? And these are like, Tony says that people generally have two primary ones that are running at any given time. And so significance, I have a lot of significant stuff. Like when I'm working out and like doing a hard cardio workout, the thing that I fantasize about is totally being internet famous, shamelessly. But for good, for contribution and stuff. And like significance is a really, really big one for a lot of people, and for myself too. And you can tell when someone has the significance one by the way that they talk about themselves, the way that they might posture themselves, the way that they're like, well, I did this and this and this, or well, I run a really successful business or really successful company. And so people have a need for significance. And like I myself have a need for significance. And as we understand what our motivations are, it's not about like which one is higher than the other. Like I believe that you get to have your desires and you get to be in alignment with your desires, and your desires are not wrong. And sometimes what we do is we say, like in the spiritual world, oh, well, contribution is the highest one, and I should always want to be in the growth and contribution reign. But that's just not honoring all of us, and that's just not honoring all of our humanity. So significance, we have a need to be significant. You might have a need to be significant in your relationship, in your love partnership, whatever that might look like. The other one is love and connection. Oh, how many times have I been motivated to do things for love and connection? So many times. Like, this year, if I hit my revenue goal for my business, like I want to take my family, this is the first time I'm stating this publicly, I want to take my family to a trip to Costa Rica. Like I want to cover the cost of our lodging and have really pimp lodging, and that's like such a motivating thing. And what's motivating me is like the love and connection, right? The love and connection that I get to have with my family if I do it, and also kind of the significance. Like I'm excited to talk about it and be like, look what I got to do because I met my revenue goal for my business, right? All right. The other one is variety. So just as much as like we need the safety, the security, the certainty, we have a need for certainty, and that's just like supporting us, the consistency, like it feels really like what feels good for us is for us to feel taken care of. That's the need for safety and security. For some people, it's more important of a need than others. That might be like, okay, like I want to have this business so I can have consistent revenue in my business so that this can feel stable. And that's like my big why. Because if I feel stable, if things feel stable, then I'm able to do other things, right? But variety is like, that's the need to taste different things and to travel and to experience doing different projects in our business because like it turns us on, it excites us, it makes us happy, right? And so the key to understanding how to influence others and influence yourself is really understanding which one of these are the most alive for you for any given thing or any given project. So if we first uncover what your why is, what's your deeper why? Why is this important? Why is this launch important? Why is this thing that you're up to important? Why is your fitness important to you? Like for some people, it might be, their grandchildren. Like their fitness, their health is important to them because of their grandchildren. And in order to read them, you would have to understand their need for love and connection. That's the most important thing to them. And once you understand that their biggest need is love and connection, you can then leverage them into action by putting them in a place of, all right, like, what happens in 10 years if your health consists of how it is right now and is on a slow decline, like it has been over, like if this year repeats over and over, where do you think your health is going to be in 10 years? How is that going to impact your children? How is that going to impact your family? Whew. For someone who has love and connection front and center, that's going to hit them really hard and really move them into action. And so part of this work is really understanding personality types and understanding how different people are motivated. We are not all the same. We do not share all the same personality traits, right? There are certain things that I might be motivated by that another person might not be motivated by, right? And so as we're understanding that, it's like, this is something that I definitely teach to my clients, and I'm going to be teaching in my sales embodiment incubator, which is starting soon, and I'm going to share more details about that coming soon to you. But in my Facebook group, Celebrate, and this is something that, we talk about. It's important to understand your personality type, how you work, how you can influence yourself. And when you deeply understand yourself, and when you deeply understand why you do things and why you don't do things, you can then understand other people. You can understand them deeply, not because you have an agenda, but from a place of compassion, from a place of understanding, from a place of creating more love, more ease, more harmony for yourself. And also being able to influence the people that you love in a positive and effective way. The people that you coach, the people that you support, the people that you have a positive contribution to in the world. And so thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to post the link to my Facebook group. And if you have any questions on this, please put them in the comments. I love, love, love responding to questions. In human design, I'm a manifesting generator, and I work so well in response to things. And I would love to clarify any questions that you might have. And I will usually answer questions in my Facebook group.